Today's unboxing is on red yeast rice. Red yeast rice is an herb that helps with lowering cholesterol, and usually, unfortunately, high cholesterol, in addition to high blood pressure and high glucose levels, sugar levels, are a commonplace in the United States by the time you hit 40 to 50. And if it's not taken care of, in addition to accumulating more damage, more weight, then it leads to problems down the line. Too much cholesterol is not good. Now, there are some studies that say that people with high cholesterol don't have any problems for the rest of their lives, and that's fine. But the name of the game is to try to avoid disease when you get older. This is one of the capsules of red yeast rice. So, red yeast rice, it is and this is the brand I like. So it is used to lower cholesterol. Now, you always have to, if you have an elevated cholesterol, you still have to work on nutrition. You don't have to be a vegan, don't have to be a vegetarian. You can be keto if you want to, paleo, fasting, it doesn't matter. But if you have a cholesterol problem, then you're on your way to other problems down the line. So change what you can. If you don't know how to change your diet, then get some help. But I always say that you always have to have extra fiber, because an average American diet is low on fiber. This is acacia. I sometimes use psyllium husk, and I'll put links down below. But fiber will help pull the cholesterol out of your gut digestive tract into your poop, so it doesn't get reabsorbed. You also have to have a decent amount of omega-3. Now, this happens to be fish oil. This is my last can of sardines. A can of sardines this size is about equal to 1,000 milligrams of total omega-3. And in the standard American diet, the SAD diet, we have way too much omega-6, whether that's from processed food or bad kind of oils or too much meat. You want to have a high level of omega, but not all 6. But you also want to shoot for a higher level of omega-3. Omega-3, if you're dominant in it, you're anti-inflammatory. Omega-6, if you're dominant in it, you're pro-inflammatory. Inflammation leads to damage. Alzheimer's disease, stroke, heart attack. Anti-inflammatory leads to longevity, less disease, happiness, no pain. So try to always balance that. But when you have done all that, exercise, relaxation practice, nutrition changes, waist size decrease, weight loss, and you're still elevated on your blood testing that you get with your doctor, then it might be worth doing this. So this is the way I use it. And this was, I found this on Consumer Lab to have monocholine in it. So Consumer Lab is a nice independent source of information to randomly test different brands. And they only did a handful of red yeast rice brands, but this one seemed, number one, to have monocholine in it. Number two, it didn't have any citrulline in it. That's a problem with red yeast rice, is sometimes you'll have excessive amounts of citrulline. Well, you don't want any amounts of citrulline, but citrulline was thought to be the reason the pet food dog owners had kidney disease in their pets about 7 years ago. But they cleaned that up. Anyway, you have to be careful of that. So this happens to say it's citrulline-free and gluten-free. Pretty good stuff. And if you look at the dosing, 2 capsules of this is equal to 1,200 milligrams. In some small studies, 2,400 milligrams per day, that's 1,200 in the morning and 1,200 at night, seemed to lower, in a small subset of patients, seemed to lower total cholesterol and LDL significantly. It took about 8 weeks, but which usually happens with herbs because they're not as potent as prescription medicines. It took about 8 weeks to see the change. And just as an example, we try, if you don't have any heart disease or risk factors, except for family perhaps, we try to target a total cholesterol less than 200 and an LDL less than 100. That would be nice. If you have risk factors, if you're on your way to damage, if you smoke, if your dad died early from a heart attack, then we want to bring it down even lower than that. If you have diabetes, the numbers drop. And then there are fancier numbers that your doctor can check, fractionated lipoprotein levels, test for ApoB and LP(a). But that's sometimes expensive. I don't usually do that unless we have really high risk. So if you have an elevated number and you've done everything you can with regards to natural treatment, then it might be worth trying first. I do 600 milligrams twice a day. I see how that goes. You have to watch your liver because it can irritate the liver. It can also fight with other medicines in your prescription cabinet, so you have to be careful. Ask your pharmacist or your doctor. You can even interact with grapefruit, just like a real statin can interact with grapefruit. So be careful and be knowledgeable and ask. But I'd start with 600 milligrams twice a day. That's 1 capsule twice a day. You see how that goes. You check another cholesterol level in about 12 weeks, in addition to a liver test. And if it has gone down, perfect. That's what you want to stick with until you make more changes in your diet and your activities and your sleep and your calming practice. Again, if you've maxed on all that stuff and you just can't find, or if you're like a 60-hour-a-week worker, parent raising a newborn and you can't get any sleep, you have no funds to make changes in nutrition, all right, for now, you're going to be on this forever. But I hate to say forever. I always say there's ways to change things. So 600 milligrams twice a day. You do it till 3 months. And if it lowers the number, then you're beautiful. If it doesn't lower the number, what I would do is take it to 1,200 milligrams twice a day for another 3 months, always watching out for gassiness, bloating, belly pain, diarrhea, joint pain. You can get joint pain with this, but the likelihood of this causing joint pain versus a real prescription statin causing it, much lower with this. I haven't had anybody have any problem with this. Even the people that had joint pain with a statin, they didn't have problems when they got on this. So if you reach the mark with 1,200 milligrams twice a day, then great. You stay at that until, again, life changes and you can get the opportunity to make those natural changes to get off of this. I have a video on natural ways to lower cholesterol, and it usually is fiber, plant sterols, red yeast rice. So please, maximizing on omega-3 fish oil or fish oil, omega-3 of any sort. So please check that out. I'll put on the link down below. If you have a heart attack already or a stroke, then the doctor will really want to get you on a statin quick, because that is one good thing about statins. It'll drop your cholesterol like an anchor very fast, 3 weeks sometimes, at the price of possible side effects. But those folks, you folks are high risk if you're that way. And now when things cool off and you are far away from your heart attack and you're exercising and you've made changes to life, maybe you can get off a statin. Now if you're and that's always what you have to do. Whether you're successful in making those numbers drop with this or a statin, you still have to make those changes so eventually you can get off that stuff. I think there's natural ways to do it. So people who take a statin or red yeast rice, and they say, now I can eat anything I want, you're going to have the next heart attack come. So the beautiful thing with modern medicine is that we do procedures, and stents do stop suffering and they get you back into work. But if you make no changes from that point on, it's about a matter of 6 years before the next stent has to be put in. And it's a matter of 10 years before the bypass has to come. So if your trajectory is already narrowing of an artery to the point of a mild heart attack, you're counting down the days. And that's why, because the clock starts at that point in time when you have that mild heart attack diagnosis in the emergency room, docs want to lower immediately. So, and again, that's statins do work with some side effects. And the usual side effects of the statins, which are one form of monocholine. This red yeast rice is a broad form of different monocholine. The typical side effects are liver backup, muscle aches. Some people say brain fog, but the data doesn't say that. So if there is anything that you've used below, or a brand that you like, put it down below and in the comment section, and I'll look it up and see and tell you whether the Consumer Lab has evaluated that brand, or I'll research the brand. Maybe it is better than Cholesterol HPF. But either way, hopefully this gives you a little bit of an opportunity to know what to do before you get to a heart attack or before you get to a stroke. The anti-inflammatory effects of cholesterol haven't been studied. The anti-inflammatory effects of statins, prescription statins, have been supposedly studied. But I just think the drug companies are pushing those things too much. I think the American College of Cardiology is actually wanting, or some big organizations wanting to put statins in water. And I'd say, let's get everybody a gym membership and a discount for organic vegetables first before we start putting stuff in water, and maybe that'll be a better way. Or start teaching cooking classes again in high school. Anyway, hopefully this helps. Please subscribe and send this out to your other friends if they're also suffering or on the fence as far as whether they have to be on a medicine or not. And check out my other videos.